As promised, I'm going to go through my presentation called the 7 Steps to Home Ownership to help you get through the process seamlessly and successfully. Celine Williams, real estate broker, 7 Steps to Home Ownership. So there's me. I am a real estate broker in Washington. I live in Marysville, Washington, which is very close to Lake Stevens, Snohomish County. I've been in real estate since 2021. And since then, I've helped 120 buyers and sellers succeed with their real estate goals. Prior to that, I was in operations management. I worked for Boeing, the University of Washington, the Medical Center for UW, NextGen and Energen, which are startup companies, and really ran all of the operations from office space, admin, calendaring, event planning, human resources, everything. I was the go-to person. And if somebody couldn't find something, then I was the connector to get them there. That's how I am with real estate too. When you work with me, you work with somebody who has access to so many different home vendors, home needs, inspectors, lenders, electricians, plumbers, everything, general contractors. And in addition to that, I broke down the process of home buying so you can feel empowered and educated through the entire process. First, here's all my contact information. You can always reach me via phone call or text message. That's my email address. If you want to follow me for some tips and for some entertainment, you can follow me on Instagram and YouTube. And then this is my website. Reviews and referrals are huge for me. My goal is always to give you a 5-star experience. So I care. I truly care about my clients and I truly care about the experience. And I also understand that buying a home or selling a home is one of the most stressful times that you can have. So I'm here to try to make it as stress-free as possible, as seamless. So in addition to that, I want you to have a 5-star experience so you can tell all your friends, your family, your colleagues that they have to use me for their real estate needs. At the very end, I'll ask you for a review, hopefully a 5-star review on my Google and Zillow pages. These are some of the reviews that I've received from my buyers. I'm not going to make you read it now. You can pause it if you'd like to read it, but a lot of my buyers have been first-time home buyers, next stage home buyers, and then forever in vacation homes. So I've helped all different types of people. But I think my favorite right now is first-time home buyers because a lot of them feel like they can't do it. They can't buy a home. And then I get them connected with my lender and then we start seeing their options. And then they start working with me and we start kind of creating this master plan to get them to where they want to be. So a lot of them said, I made the daunting search for the perfect home flawless. I'm very good with my research, invaluable knowledge, tips, and support from the first time we talked until even after closing. And then the next one is I made them feel comfortable and I always ask them how they were doing. And I treat my clients like family. So I am here for you. I'm here to serve you with the home buying process. No question is dumb. I've been through this many times. Most of you have never been through this, so lean on me and ask me questions throughout the process. So 7 steps to home ownership. Let's go. The first one is consulting with a real estate broker. So you can go through this, or we have probably had a phone call or a video call at this point. The next step is getting pre-approved. Third is creating your criteria. Fourth is shopping for homes. 5 is offer and negotiations. 6 is due diligence, so escrow, inspection, and appraisal. And then 7 is closing day and getting your keys in your hands. So in the very first meeting that we have, we're going to talk about the home buying process, which we'll go through this entire presentation, what the market is actually doing right now. And I will do that with you live so we can go through the actual data of today, your wants and needs in a home, my compensation. So how do I get paid as your buyer's agent? And then you'll sign your agreement to work exclusively with me. So the second step is getting pre-approved. This is one of the most crucial steps because getting a pre-approval letter allows you to, 1, know what your numbers are, and 2, make a solid offer if you find a home that you fall in love with. As far as price range, that's super important, but Price range. So say you get pre-approved and you're only approved for 800,000, 500,000, whatever the number, right? Maybe you are pre-approved for that number, but then we look at the mortgage payment and realize that that's a little too much. That's out of your comfort zone. So we can kind of move the numbers around to make it where you're comfortable, right? Because I was having situations where people were getting approved for a certain amount, but they didn't like the mortgage payment, which is totally fine. It also allows you to figure out, if you're conventional, FHA, VA, USDA, what type of loan you're going to get. And it tells you what type of down payment assistance programs you might qualify for. In order to do this, I will connect you with one of my amazing preferred lender partners. They will have you fill out their application and likely ask for these following documents. So employment letter, any pay stubs, last year's tax return if you have them, last month's statements from your checking, savings, and retirement in case you're using that for down payment, and then any debt statements because they will be pulling your credit. It will be a soft pull, so it shouldn't affect you too much, but they will need to pull your credit to make sure that you are qualified to purchase a home. Local versus banking online or versus a bank or an online lender. So I personally love my lenders. I currently am working with Jeff Miltenberger, who's based in Linwood, and Carrie Freeman, who is based in Mill Creek. And they're both fantastic. And what I love about them is not only do they work hard for my clients, they treat my clients as great as I do, at least I try to, but they're very, very knowledgeable and they work the same hours that real estate is actually happening, right? When's real estate happening? Weeknights and weekends. So on Saturday, if I need her to call the listing agent to show that you are a strong candidate, she's going to call her right up and make sure that we are, highlighting you in the best light. And then another thing is they just have processes in place to make it seamless for you there too. And they're so communicative. So Jeff Miltenberger and Carrie Freeman, amazing. Oh, sorry, Carrie Haynes. And then as far as if you go with a bank or an online lender, they're usually only open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And I might need them. I might need them for a pre-approval letter. I might need them to call the listing agent. And so it's just always easier to work with a lender that is local and works the same hours as real estate is happening. Also, they've closed for many of my clients, so I trust them to take care of them. One of the biggest myths is, do I need 20% down? No, you do not need 20% down. So stop making that the reason that you don't buy a home, right? So there are programs that do 3%, 5%. FHA is 3.5%. VA, if you are in the military or have served our country, you can get a house with zero down. And like I said earlier, there's down payment assistance programs that might be able to take care of everything. So don't have that mindset of 20% down. You don't need it. Upfront costs that a lot of people don't factor in, though, are earnest money. And earnest money is good faith money that you're going to continue with the home. So think of it as kind of a down payment before the down payment. So it's reserving the home for you. You don't put in your earnest money until your offer is accepted. But you have your earnest money, about 1% to 2%. Most of my buyers do 2% because that is competitive. So 2% of the purchase price, and that money goes towards your closing costs at the very end. Your closing costs can be escrow fees, loan origination fees, title and escrow fees, but you will get all that information too when you have a pre-approval letter and a loan scenario from your lender. The second thing is the inspection. The inspection is a third party that comes to the house and essentially gives you a health home report of the property. So they're going to look at everything, all of the appliances, all of the systems. They'll go on the roof. If it has a basement or crawl space, they'll assess that. Any foundation, they'll open doors, turn on light switches, run all of the appliances, run all the water, find out if there are any leaks or plumbing issues, and then you'll get a nice big report that shows all of the problems or just the condition of your home. It can look a little scary, but I assure you, it's really more of a peace of mind thing and let you know if we, one, need to negotiate things like maybe getting a credit or having them fix things before you buy it, or at least know what you have to prepare for once you become the homeowner. And the third thing is the closing costs, which is what I explained earlier. It's about 3%, but your earnest money will go towards it. The next step is creating your criteria. So I'm sure you've already done this, but now it's time for me to know exactly what we're looking for when we're home buying. So I'm going to ask you, what location are you interested in? And I'm not even just talking about a particular city. We're talking about neighboring cities, two neighboring areas. What's really important to you? I pride myself into really knowing the Snohomish, Skagit, and King County. So if you're looking at one specific neighborhood, I'm sure I can get you to look at other neighborhoods or other cities to help you get that feeling of home that you're looking for. So location is crucial. Obviously, your price is crucial too. And we'll get that once we have that pre-approval letter. Then minimum number of bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage of the home, the lot size. Maybe you don't care about how big your backyard is. Maybe you want acreage. Maybe you want to be away from all the hustle and bustle. But in this time, I want to know exactly what you want and what you need to make your home a home. So I'll use this information to create a customized portal, and it'll send you listings that come on the market right to your inbox as soon as they're live. It'll come through here called the One Home Portal. And this is great because this is the Northwest Multiple Listing Service, how real estate brokers put listings on the market, and it'll come directly to you. I'll be honest, I've heard that the user friendliness is not that great. So if you love using homes.com, realtor.com, Zillow, Redfin, go for it. All I ask is you take a snapshot of something called the Northwest MLS number. It's a 7-digit number, or the address, so then I can look up background information for you. So the next thing is home shopping and touring, which is personally my favorite part. So if you see a home that you like in the portal, favorite it or send me a screenshot. If after I send you all the background information on the home and all the supplements, you still want to tour it, then we'll go ahead and start setting up appointments to see it. So say we go to a home and you love it. It's like, oh my gosh, Celine, this is it. I think this is the home for us. As soon as you tell me that, I'm going to call the listing agent, start building rapport, finding out the motivations of the seller, figuring out if there's any interest or any offers in hand. So then we can come in with a very strong offer. So once we have an offer kind of in place that we've discussed, I'm going to have you fill out this template, which has the address of the property, how much you're willing to pay for the home, how much earnest money you're going to put down payment, are you going to do an inspection, and then all of your legal names, email addresses to send you for signatures, and of course your mailing address, because escrow will need to get a statement of identity from you, which just confirms that you are who you say you are. Right now, a competitive offer looks like it's going to be so different based on when this video is posted and when you buy a home. But really, we're just going to be looking for a competitive price. In some markets, it's list price. In other markets, it's 5-10% over list price. So it really just depends on the area. And that's the research that I will do with you personally as we are going through the process. Waived contingencies always look great. So a contingency is a condition that allows you to either back out or negotiate in the process of the transaction. So what are some of the contingencies in place for buyers? An inspection, financing, appraisal, HOA review. So for inspections in particular, say you waive the inspection, that means we cannot use an inspection to back out of the deal or negotiate anything. With financing, say you're paying cash, you don't need a contingency of financing, because financing would mean like, what if you couldn't get a loan anymore because you lost your job, or maybe you had an illness in the family and it just wouldn't work out? Then we can use that financing contingency or condition. Appraisal is another one. So say you love a home, it's worth $500,000, but the bank's appraiser or the lender hires an appraiser and the appraiser says that it's only worth $450,000. There's that $50,000 gap. So normally a seller would hope that you as a buyer would come up with the difference or just come up in price a little bit. And if you can't or don't want to, you can back out and you'll get your earnest money back. And then HOA review is another contingency, making sure that the HOA rules and regulations fit your needs. Type of lending is super competitive. A lot of people really love conventional just because it's a little less strict than VA or FHA, but they're all great. And I would, motivate anyone with any type of lending. Higher earnest money and down payment always looks stronger. It just shows a little bit more financial security to the seller. And then additional down payment towards low appraisal. It's not happening as much, but it's to cover the gap if there is a gap between the contract price that you've offered and they've accepted and what it actually appraises for by the lender's appraiser. Seller document. So these are some of the documents that I'll be sending you. The Form 17, seller disclosure, everything the seller knows about the home, but it's not always accurate. And I definitely don't recommend it to take the place of an inspection. The Form 22E, foreign investor and real property tax, basically just making sure that if it is a foreign investor that owns that property, that they're going to be paying the taxes on the home. And then the 22K, which is the utilities form, that's probably the most important one for you because that's the one you're going to use to set up all your utilities. Think water, sewer, garbage, sometimes cable and internet. And you will get this from me and my transaction coordinator throughout the process. So due diligence. So this is super exciting. This means that your offer has been accepted. So once your offer is accepted, you're considered mutual, under contract, or pending. This process can take anywhere from 30 to 45 days. Okay. In most cases, my lenders get it done in about 21 days, but the longest I've had is about 30 days, depending on the loan. So expect to be moving in 30-ish days from when your offer gets accepted. The next step will be depositing your earnest money, and that is usually due 3 business days from when your offer was accepted. So, like I said, good faith money shows you're serious as a buyer. I'll open escrow, third-party representative who's going to coordinate the entire closing process. They're going to contact you directly, and they'll figure out how you want to send the money, either by check, wire, or a courier. In most cases, people do ACH, which is wiring your funds over to them. The next step will be inspection, review, and respond to. We usually like to do this within 5 business days. Automatically on the contract, it does say 10 days, but to make it more competitive, especially if we're going against other offers, I usually do 5 days. I have a list of inspectors that I have had my clients use and really love. So I will send that to you and we can get that scheduled. And then if there are many issues or big issues that we want to negotiate, we do that within that 5-day period. The next step will be the appraisal. So within about 2 weeks of closing, your lender is going to schedule that appraisal to come through, and they're going to just make sure that it's worth the value that you are wanting to pay for it. They're also going to make sure there are no major safety issues. Things like smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors cannot be missing. If there is a water heater, it needs to be double strapped for earthquake protection. And if it's VA or FHA, they might be looking at any peeling paint on the sides of the house, or if there's rotting wood, really just to make sure that you are safe as a home buyer. And that's generally done the 3rd week of the transaction, but I've seen it happen in the 1st week. So it really just depends on the availability of appraisers at the time. 3 to 5 days before closing, we're going to be doing the final walkthrough, which is super exciting. This is when we walk through it, make sure that all the inspection items that we've negotiated have been completed, and then make sure there are no new issues, right? Any major leaks or, just kind of check around, or maybe they've moved their stuff out of the way and now we see this huge thing in the floor that we didn't know was there. So now we can ask them to repair it, things like that. And then also you can start taking measurements because you're probably going to be moving in very soon. And then 1 to 3 days before closing, you're going to sign all of your closing documents. So you're probably going to go to the office for escrow, or they can come to you via mobile notary. And then you'll fund the loan, which means pay all of your closing costs. Closing day. So like I said, closing day is about 30 to 45 days, typically 21 to 30 days. from the day your offer gets accepted. And so on closing day, escrow is going to work with the lender, make sure all the numbers are balanced, everybody's on the same page, and then they will release the numbers, which are the deed numbers, to the county. Once it records with the county, you are now the homeowner and the transaction is done. So I can either be there with your keys to celebrate with you, or I can hide it somewhere on the property so you can get it at your own convenience. But I will be there to do a closing celebration with you. Obviously, take a picture that said yes to the address if that's something that you're okay with, and give you a little housewarming gift to show you my appreciation for being your real estate broker. These are some of my closers. All of these are actually first-time buyers, except this couple right here. They were a military family that moved from Belgium. And I am just so thrilled to help these guys accomplish home ownership. A lot of them thought they couldn't do it, but after some guidance with me and my lender partners, we were able to find a way. And now they're starting the path to build wealth. And it's so amazing because all it takes is that first-time home, live in it for 5 to 7 years, maintain it, make sure that you are taking care of it. If you're doing any updates, feel free to reach out to me. I can tell you kind of what's trending so we can make sure that we can sell it once that time comes, and probably live in it for about 5 to 7 years. And you will likely have equity that you can use towards your next home. And that's the power of wealth building and accomplishing the goals of getting your next stage, your dream home. You got to start at the starter home. So compensation, how do I get paid, right? I'm representing you. Are you going to have to pay me? I think a lot of people get freaked out by that, but no, the seller and the listing agent typically negotiate the compensation for the listing agent and the buyer's agent. So generally that compensation is going to be 2.5 to 3%. On my buyer's agency agreement that I will send to you, it will say 3%. And the reason why is because if the seller is offering 3%, I want to make sure I'm getting paid 3% because I do work very hard for my clients. I make sure that I'm negotiating, I'm communicating, I'm giving a 5-star experience, and you will see that as you work with me. But if they only offer 2.5%, I will gladly take 2.5% and not have you make up the difference. And let's say they are only offering 1% or 2%. Then what I will do is I will ask you, hey, are you willing to pitch in to cover my compensation? If not, what I'll do is in the contract, I will write it in the contract what I want my compensation to be, typically at least 2.5%, and we will go from there. So here's the buyer's agency agreement. As of January 1st of 2024, you now have to have a buyer's agency agreement in place before I can be your agent. So being your agent means sending you homes, showing you homes, calling and asking for additional information on homes. Really answering any questions for you means that I am working for you. So if you are interested in working with me, all you have to do is reach out to me. You can call me 360-292-9710, or you can email me. We can get the process started, and I am so excited to help you find your first home, your next stage home, or your forever home. I also help with investments and vacation homes. So reach out anytime. That's the 7 steps to home ownership. And you can also book a meeting with me on my link below on Calendly. I'm so excited to help you.